Hello everyone! So nasa lesson 3 na tayo ng ating fourth quarter and this is all about frequency distribution. Now for our most essential learning competency, the learner organizes data in a frequency distribution table. Now ano nga ba ang frequency? Frequency is the number of times an observation or a particular value appears in a dataset. So, ang frequency daw ay yung bilang ng kung ilang beses yung isang data pinakita or nag-appear sa isang dataset. How about frequency distribution? A frequency distribution is a table that shows the frequencies for the categories, values, or counting variable or class interval. So last time, nagkaroon tayo ng topic when it comes to organizing the data, but this time meron tayong another way on how we can organize the data by means of this frequency distribution. At pag sinabi nating frequency distribution, pinapakita nito yung frequencies ng isang or higit pang categories or yung mga values or yung class intervals na tinatawag natin. So mamaya, madidiscuss natin yan. So let us consider the following portion of this table. So we have here the class interval 16 to 20. Then we have the tally here. Kung makikita nyo, yung mga sticks. And then the frequency, we have 7. Now, this is just an example of a table at i-analyze natin yung different kinds or part nitong table na to. So, sa may class interval natin, meron tayong tinatawag dito na class size. Class size, yun yung mga value na kino-contain ng ating class interval. So, sa example na to, ang ating class size ay 5. Bakit 5 or 5? Dahil there are 5 values that the interval may contain. So specifically, dun sa 16 to 20, meron yung values na 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Correct? So meaning to say, merong 5 values doon sa ating 16 to 20. Don't forget, again, that is the class size. Next is, we have the class limit na tinatawag. Parang kumbaga limitasyon ng ating class interval. Now we have here the lower class limit and the upper class limit. So if our class interval is 16 to 20, so our lower class limit is 16. And then of course, our upper class limit is 20. Ibig sabihin, yun yung pinakamababa na limitasyon niya which is 16 at pinakamataas na limitasyon niya which is the 20. Next is we have this what we call the class boundary. Sa class boundary natin, meron tayong tinatawag din na lower class boundary and upper class boundary. So, dun muna tayo sa lower class boundary. Ano nga ba to? In lower class boundary, meron tayong 15.5. So, bakit nangyari yon? Because we subtract 0.5 from 16. So, para makuha natin lower class boundary natin, so kailangan natin mag-subtract ng 0.5 from the lower class limit natin. Again, we subtract 0.5 from 16. Saan ang galing ma'am yung 16? Doon sa ating lower class limit. Okay? And then, if we have the lower class boundary, meron tayong upper class boundary. So, sa lower class boundary, nag-subtract tayo ng 0.5. So, sa upper class boundary naman, we need to add 0.5 from 20. So, saan naman ang galing yung 20? Ang 20 naman ay nanggaling doon sa upper class limit. Okay? So, kaya nagkaroon siya ng 20.5. Again, for lower class boundary, we subtract 0.5 from 16. And then for upper class boundary, we add 0.5 from 20. Next, we have this what we call the class mark. Ano ba naman yung ating class mark? So, ang class mark is the middle value that may serve as the representative of the interval. So, if we have the interval 16 to 20, ang class mark daw na tinatawag natin is yung middle value niya. Ang ating class mark is 18. Why? Since 18 is the middle score from 16 to 20. So, kung bibilangan natin, so we have 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Ang gitna niya ay 18. To summarize these, we have this table. The class interval is 16 to 20. Ang class mark natin is 18. The lower class limit is 16. The upper class limit is 20, the lower class boundary is 15.5, at yung ating upper class boundary is 20.5. Next, let us consider the following portion again, same table, kagaya kanina. So kung tapos na tayo dun sa class interval at yung different terms na related sa kanya, ano naman tong second column? So this is what we call the tally column. Tally column is the record of sticks that gives you the frequency or the number of values that fall into class interval 16 to 20. So nagpapakita siya ng mga sticks na nagbibigay ng frequency. For example, dun sa data na meron tayo or dataset, sabi ay may 18 dun. So, pasok siya sa 16 to 20. So, magtatara tayo ng isa. So, that's what you call the sticks. Okay, so that is the tally column. So, if we have tally column, we have the last column here, which is the frequency column. Ano naman yung frequency column? Under the frequency column is the number of sticks. The slash serve as the fifth count so that counting will be easier. Okay, so yung frequency naman is kung gaano karami yung stick natin. So kung bibilangin natin, this is 7. Correct? At yung slash na pinapakita dito, it serve as number or the fifth count for that data. So para mas madali tayong magbilang if ever na umabot tayo sa mas malaking value or mas malaking frequency. Okay? The next is I have here another set of frequency distribution. Kung makikita natin, we have here the scores at hindi lang isa yung class interval natin, hindi lang 16 to 20. So, meron pa tayo dyan 21 to 25, 26 to 30, 31 to 35, and 36 to 40. And then we have another tally column here and frequency column here. So, the first question is, how many class interval ang meron tayo? Of course, if this is one class interval, ibig sabihin meron tayong 5 class intervals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are the class interval na tinatawag natin. And the next is, what is the highest and the lowest class interval? Ano daw yung pinakamababang class interval? Dito sa 5 to, ang pinakamababa ay 16 to 20. At ang ating pinakamataas ay 36 to 40. Ma'am, bakit hindi yung 16 ang lowest natin? So we're not talking about the lower class limit, but we're talking about the lowest class interval. Pinakamababang class interval. At ang isang grupo na to ay isang class interval. So meaning to say, ito yung lowest na class interval at ito namang nasa taas yung highest class interval natin. Okay? So kaya be careful sa ating mga tanong. So hindi natin alam na lowest class interval pala yung tinatanong, hindi lower class limit. 'Di ba? So, class interval yung tinatanong. Kaya 16 to 20 and the highest class interval is 36 to 40. Number 3, what is the class size? Ayan. So, di ba sabi natin, class size is the value na nagko-contain ng each interval. So, kung mapapansin natin, sa 16 to 20, ang class size niyan ay 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So, 5. Same thing with 21 to 25. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. 5 values din yung na-contain niya. So, ibig sabihin, the class size of this is 5. Since each is interval, ang class size na is 5. Okay? Next is number 4. Which score interval has the highest frequency and the lowest frequency? Again, ang tinatanong is ano daw score interval ang merong pinakamataas na frequency. So, kung makikita natin yung frequency dito, the highest is 9. Correct? At anong class interval yung may 9 na frequency? We have 26 to 30. Tama? And then, the lowest frequency naman, kung mapapansin natin, from this frequency, ang lowest is 1. So, therefore, 36 to 40 ang mayroong lowest frequency. These are the class intervals. Okay? Next, number 5. Let's try to complete naman the table below na mayroong class interval na 21 to 25. So, if we have the class interval 21 to 25, ano yung class mark natin? Diba sabi natin kanina, class mark is the middle value of the class interval that might represent the value itself. So, kung meron tayong 21 to 25, ang class mark natin is 23 dahil ang nasa gitna ay 23. So, if we'll have 21, 22, 23, 24, and then 25. So, yan yung values na contain ng ating class interval. So, meaning to say, ang nasa gitna is 23. That's why our class mark is 23. Now, what is the lower class limit? O we're pertaining to the limit na. Okay, so we have 21 to 25. Ang lower dyan is 21, correct? How about the upper class limit? 25. Next, lower class boundary. So, paano ba natin makukuha yung lower class boundary? So, sabi natin kanina, we need to subtract 0.5 from the lower class limit if we're looking for the lower class boundary. So, para makuha natin yung lower class boundary dyan, kailangan nating isubtract ang 0.5 from the lower class limit. So, we have 21 minus 0.5. The answer is 20.5. How about for the upper class boundary? For us to be able to get the upper class boundary, so instead of subtraction, addition naman tayo. We need to add what? 0.5 to our upper class limit. So, ibig sabihin, if our class limit or upper class limit is 25, if we add 0.5 dyan, the answer is 25.5. Okay, so yan yung ating complete table for the class interval 21 to 25. Now, paano naman tayo magko-construct ng frequency distribution? So, naka-analyze na tayo, nakapag-examine na tayo ng different frequency distribution. Let's try naman to construct this, okay? Example number 1 is, Jessica is a plantita. So, she surveyed 20 households in their barangay and found out the number of varieties of plant they own. The results are 301-441-202-202-01312-113. So, sabi si Jessica daw ay nag-survey sa kanyang 20 na mga kalapit bahay. So, yung mga plantita, at tinanong niya yung mga yon kung ilan yung variety ng halaman na meron sila. So, kung ano, ilang klase meron sila ng halaman. At yung mga sumusunod na data, yan yung naging resulta ng kanyang survey. Now, for us to organize the given data, we need to construct a frequency distribution. Simply follow the steps given. Step number 1 is just to create a table with 3 columns. So, ano-ano yung tatlong columns na yon? So, we have the number of varieties of plants. So, ito yung hinahanap niya at tinanong niya, di ba? Kung ilang klase ng halaman meron yung mga kapitbahay niya. And then, of course, the tally column and then the frequency column. Step number 2, write the categories of the result gathered in the first column. So, yung number of varieties. So, kung ito yung data na nakolekta niya, ano yung mga possible number of varieties ng plants? So, kung mapapansin natin dito sa data, hindi na natin siya kailangang igrupo. Kasi medyo konti yung data natin at kitang-kita natin yung mga varieties lang na nako-contain or varieties na included doon sa kanyang na survey. So, meron lang dyan 0, may 1, 2, 3, and 4. Do we have 5? Wala, di ba? So, these are the varieties. No need to group. So, after that, after listing the varieties, possible varieties ng ating plants, step number 3 is just to tally the number in each category based on the data gathered in the survey. So, kung meron tayong varieties dito, itatali lang natin. So, for example, 3, magtatara tayo ng isa dun sa 3. For example, 0, magtatali tayo ng isa sa 0 hanggang sa maubos natin yung data set na binigay. So, ito yung naging tally niya. Okay? Then, number 4 is to count the sticks in the tally column and write the frequency in the third column. So, kung ito yung number of varieties natin at nakapagtali na tayo, ang step number 4 is just to count yung sticks na nagawa natin sa tally for us to have the frequency column. So, we have here, 4 yung stick, 6 yung stick, 5 yung stick, 3 and 2. Ibig sabihin, yung walang variety or wala silang halaman sa bahay ay 4 sa 20 na na-survey niya. Tapos, yung merong isang klase lang ng halaman sa bahay ay 6 dun sa na-survey niya. At 5 sa na-survey niya ay may 2 klase ng halaman at 3 sa na-survey niya ay may 3 klase ng halaman. So, 2 sa na-survey niya ay may 4 na klase ng halaman. So, if we add this frequency, the total of this is 20. So, those are the respondents nung kanyang survey. And then, of course, step number 5 is just to finalize the table. And then, make sure to write the title. Okay? Walang title, mali. Bakit? Kasi hindi natin alam tungkol saan ba yung frequency distribution table na ibinigay. So, the title is Frequency Distribution of the Number of Varieties of Plants of 20 Households. So this example above is specifically called the frequency distribution for ungrouped data kasi hindi na natin ginroup at hindi na tayo nagkaroon ng class interval, correct? So that's why we call this as frequency distribution for ungrouped data. Example number 2. So consider the following data set. We have here the final math grades of 20 grade 7 students, school year 2019 to 2020. So ito yung mga scores nila or grade nila. So we have here the following is the procedure on how we will construct the frequency distribution. So andito sa kanang part yung mga grades nila at nandito sa kaliwa yung step. Step number 1 is for us to find the highest and the lowest score. Yun lang. And then the highest score out of this data ay 96 and the lowest score is 76. And then step number 2, after nating makita yung highest and lowest score, we need to compute for the range. Ano ba yung range na tinatawag natin? So this is the difference between the highest and the lowest score. At sabi natin kanina, ang highest is 96, ang lowest is 76. So we will just get its difference. So 96 minus 76 is 20. Meaning to say, ang range natin ay 20. Then after that, step number 3 is nagbibigay tayo ng intend number of class interval or yung ina-assume natin na class interval. So in this case, let's intend to set the number of class interval to be 4. Apat yung class interval. Okay? And then let's compute for the class size of this class interval. So, para malaman natin ilang values yung makukontain ng isang class interval. At ang formula natin is just the range na na-compute natin kanina over yung intended nating number of class interval. So, we have here 20. This is the value of range na na-compute natin kanina divided by the intended number of the class interval, which is yung 4. So, 20 divided by 4, so that is equal to 5. Meaning to say, ang class size natin is 5. Limang values ang meron dapat or nakocontain ng isang class interval. Okay? And then step number 4 is just to form the table and then complete the list of the class interval. So nalaman na natin ang class size ay dapat ay limang value. So magkakaroon na tayo ng different class interval. Start tayo dun sa lowest. So from the lowest, which is 76, bibilang lang tayo ng 5. 76, 77, 78, 79, 80. That's why meron tayong first class interval na 76 to 80. And then continue lang natin. So we're done with 80. Next is 81. 81, 82, 83, 84, 85. 5 din, di ba? Kasi ang class size natin is 5. So meaning to say 81 to 85. The next is 86, 87, 88, 89, 90. 5 din. Kasi ang class size natin is 5. So meaning to say 86 to 90. And so forth. So bakit teacher hanggang 96 lang naman yung highest score? Bakit nagkaroon tayo ng 100? We need to continue our class interval, okay? Hanggang ma-reach natin yung pinakamataas na score. So, kung hindi natin isasama yung 96, hindi natin malalagyan or malalagyan ng tally doon sa ating frequency distribution. That's why, we're done with 95. Yung next is 96, 97, 98, 99, 100. We just need to continue. So, we have 96 to 100. So note that the lowest class interval should have an upper limit that is divisible by class size, and since the lowest score is 76 in the dataset, you may set the lowest class interval to be 76 to 80. So yan yung ginawa natin kanina. And then step number 5 is to start to complete the tally column by marking sticks where the score falls. You may start at the top left, then across or downward, and let's start with 78. So kagaya nung ginawa natin kanina, iisa-isahin lang natin yung ating data. So pwedeng start sa 78 pababa or 78 papunta dun sa 96 hanggang doon, hanggang maubos natin. Ang mahalaga lang dyan is maitali natin lahat. So 78, saan siya magfo-fall? It will fall under dun sa 76 to 80 natin. So, magtatali tayo ng isa dyan. And then 96, this is 96 to 100, tama? So, dito. 91, this is 91 to 95. So, dito. 84, makikita natin yan sa 81 to 85. So, dito tayo magtatali. Hanggang maubos natin lahat ng data na yan. Okay? Then, after that, step number 6 is just to record the total number of sticks per class interval in the frequency column. Bibilangin lang natin yung sticks sa ating tally column and then just write the number dun sa frequency column. And don't forget to write the title, okay? You may replace the class interval with grade. So instead of writing the class interval here, pwedeng grade na lang kasi yun naman yung ating kinukuha as the heading of the first column in relation to the dataset. And then again, make sure nga na meron tayong title. So this is a frequency distribution for the group data. So kanina meron tayong ungroup. This time, ito naman ay group data kasi naka-group na yung ating mga grades. Nagkaroon na tayo ng class interval. Okay, now, so let's move with our engagement. Try naman natin gawin yung mga na-discuss natin kanina. So we have for learning task number 1, a family sports fest with the theme Pamilyang Pilipino, One for All for One, was held in San Pablo City, IHS. So based on the registration records, the frequency distribution of the ages of a particular participants was constructed. So, tinanong daw yung mga age ng participant ng ating Pamilyang Pilipino, One for All for One. At ito yung kinalabasan. So, we have here the ages. So, andito yung class interval ng mga age na yon. We have the tally here and then we have the frequency here. Now, we have here the question number 1. In which age bracket does the most number of participants fall? So, kung ito yung mga participants natin, ito yung mga age nila, alin dyan yung may pinakamaraming participants? So, we have 8. So, we have 37 to 39. Yun yung age bracket na merong pinakamaraming participant. Ibig sabihin, pinakamaraming participant na may age na 37 to 39. Number 2 is what age bracket has no participant? Alin daw yung walang participant? So, meron tayo ditong 0. So, meaning to say, dalawa. We have 43 to 45 and 19 to 21. Okay, so yun yung mga age bracket na walang participant. Ibig sabihin, walang participant na nasa age na 43 to 45 and 19 to 21. Number 3 is how many participants whose age fall between 31 to 33 years old. So, ilang participant daw yung may age sa 31 to 33? 5 participants. Next is, what is the possible age of the youngest participant? So, kung meron tayong class interval na 13 to 15 here, ano kaya yung pinakamabata from these ages? So, we have the youngest is 13 years old. Number 5, what is the total number of the participants? So, kung ito yung frequency, this is the number of the participant na nag-fall under dun sa mga different age, meaning to say, ito din yung bilang ng participants natin. At if we add all of these, we have 44 participants in total. Okay, let's have learning task number 2 naman. So we have here a floating fish hatchery in Sampaloc Lake. One of the 7 lakes in San Pablo City produce ng 8 baskets of tilapia daily. So for 5 days, the weights of the basket in kilogram of tilapia were recorded as shown below. So ito yung mga record ng timbang ng basket sa kilogram. So let's try to construct a frequency distribution based on the table above. And then let the intended number of class interval to be 5. So magagamit natin yan mamaya. Di ba sabi natin ang ating step number 1 to construct a frequency distribution ng group data is to find the highest and the lowest weight. Ano yung ating highest weight? The highest weight is 24 base dito sa dataset natin and the lowest weight is 9. Step number 2 is for us to compute the range. At sabi natin, for us to be able to compute the range, just subtract the highest and the lowest weight. So we have 24 minus 9, so the range is 15. And that range ay magagamit natin for us to get the class size. Sabi natin, for step number 3, intend to set the number of class interval, sabi natin kanina na 5. So meaning to say, for us to get the class size, we just need to divide the range na nakuha natin, which is 15, divided by dun sa ating class interval na intended. So we have 15 divided by 5. Saan nanggaling si 15? Dun sa range. Saan nanggaling si 5? Doon sa intended nating interval. So 15 divided by 5 is 3. So the class size is 3. Ibig sabihin, we should have 3 values na contain ng ating class interval mamaya. Step number 4 is to form the table and then complete the list of the class interval. So, alam na natin kung ano yung class size. Alam na natin yung highest and lowest weight. Ibig sabihin, we can construct the class interval na this here under the weight. Okay, so we have the class size 3. Start tayo sa lowest, which is 9. So, ibig sabihin, 9 to 11. Kasi tatlo yung class size natin. So, 9, 10, 11. Tatlo. Then, after 11, so we have 12. 12, 13, 14. So we have 12 to 14. And then 15. 15, 16, 17. So we have 15 to 17. Next is 18. Class size is 3. So count tayo ng 3, 18, 19, 20. So ibig sabihin 18 to 20. And the next is we have 21. So count ulit tayo ng 3, 21, 22, 23. And then we're done with 23. So we have 24. Count ulit tayo ng tatlo, 24, 25. Then we have 26. Okay? Then after this, the class interval, ibig sabihin, kompleto na tayo for the class interval kasi ang highest is 24. At ayun, meron na tayong 24 dyan. So, pwede na tayong mag-stop for the class interval. The next step is to start to complete the tally column by marking sticks where the score falls. So, itatali lang natin. So, yung 9i under nito, 9 to 11. Then we have 15 under dito. 12 ay dito. 21 dito. 12 dito ulit. So, we have 13. Saan yung 13? Dito ulit. So, we have 15 dito. 17 dito. 14. 19. Then we have 21 here. 13 here. Ayan. So, nakaabot na tayo ng 5. So, kailangan na natin slash and then yung kanyang separation. And then, we have 15 next. So, dito. We have 16. Dito pa din. Slash. And then, we have 11. We have 19. We have 18. 23. Then, we have 13. We have 21. So, dito siya. And then, we have 17. So, dito siya. Then, 22. So, dito siya. Slash na natin dahil 5 na siya. Then, 21 dito. 17. So, dito siya. 18 dito. 12 dito. 22 here. 19 here. So, slash na din natin yan. And then, 24 here. 19 here. 18. So, dito din. Then, we have 14. So, dito si 14. 10. Dito si 10. 20. Dito si 20. Okay, then we have 14 here. 11 here. 20 here. Then we have 15 here. 16 here. Then last is 12. Meron tayo dito. Okay, and then we have now the tally at natapos na natin lahat ng data sa ating dataset. Then we have step number 6. Lastly is to record the total number of sticks per class interval in the frequency column. So tapos na tayo sa tally column, let's count the sticks in each class interval then write it sa ating frequency. So sa 24 to 26 meron lang tayong isa. So the frequency is 1. Sa 21 to 23 meron tayong 7. So the frequency is 7. And then sa ating 18 to 20, meron tayong 9. And then we have sa 15 to 17, meron tayong 9 din. And then for our 12 to 14, meron tayong 10. And then for our 9 to 11, meron tayong 4. Okay, so these are the frequency. So let's try to add kasi 40 yung ating data. So 10 to and then 4. So 40 yung data natin. Let's try kung 40 nga to. So 7 plus 1, 8 plus 9, 17, plus 9, 26, plus 10, 36, plus 4 ay 40. So, ibig sabihin, tama yung ating tally na meron tayong 40 na data. So, this is our frequency distribution table for the grouped data. So, of course, kailangan natin ng title again. So, this is the weights of the basket in kilogram of tilapia. Now, last is for our assimilation, we just need to fill in the blank. So, i-fill natin yung mga blanks base dun sa mga naging discussion natin kanina. So, you have number 1, this is the number of times a particular observation appears in a data set, and this is what we call the frequency. Number 2 is one way to display the spread of the frequency of the categories, values of a counting variable or class interval is to construct a Paano daw natin mapapakita yung spread ng frequency? We need to construct a frequency distribution. Number 3 is in a class interval daw, yung middle score ay tawag natin dyan ay, yes, class mark. Number 4 is the number of values that may fall in a class interval is its the tally. Okay, number 5 is, blank are the values that occupy the gaps between class intervals and they can be found by subtracting yung 0.5 natin from the lower class limit and then adding 0.5 to the upper class limit. So this is what we call the class boundary. Okay, for us to be able to get the lower class boundary, so we just need to subtract 0.5 from the lower class limit. At for us to be able to get the upper class boundary, we just need to add 0.5 to the upper class limit. Okay, so that's all for our frequency distribution table. So I hope you learned something for this video. Thank you very much and God bless you all.